DNVR Bets Daily. Welcome into the show and welcome to the weekend. We are, Friday at 4 might as well be the weekend. 4 is the new 5, is what I've always said. And we got a big one. We got a big one here, Dre.
Big weekend.
Big weekend. Unfortunately, but I'm happy for those people. My parlay hot streak died at the hands of Colorado State last night. Good for them. I will say, I felt like I was on the right side of the bet.
I got this from Justin earlier. Justin said the under was the right side of the bet, and I had a lucky over. You guys are that's Mountain West football for you. Wacky stuff's gonna happen, and it got a little wacky, but my double over hit. What a week it's been. It's been for us, Ryan. The action, we didn't fade the public. We knew it was too easy to take Aaron Rodgers. That was never in doubt. And then, Ryan, that's one of the greatest over covers of all time on Thursday night. The meaningless touchdown at the buzzer. I was on pins and needles. And as I told you privately, I was so mad at the Niners for blowing 4th and inches at the Packers 7 at the beginning of the fourth quarter, which if they convert that and get the touchdown, it's over. I knew I'd get the over. They blow that, on a Nick Mullins sneak, and I was cussing at the TV all night. And Kate was like, "What's going on?"
Now.
But then the double over hits. The Packers hit. It was a beautiful night after the action the day prior. It's been a great week. It's been a great week.
We also gave out Devontae Adams over on receiving yards, easy peasy. We gave out. We just been throwing stuff at the wall and everything sticks.
It's been a good time.
Except for effing CSU. Okay, here's my point on that. Wyoming outgained them in passing yards, rushing yards, more first downs, more time of possession, more plays. Mm-hmm. Everything. But they turned the ball over 2 times at the very beginning of the game that resulted in 14 points.
And Patty O.B. was making it happen. Dante Wright was back. Trey McBride. The stud playmakers for CSU that had to show up did.
I'm not trying to take away. I'm just saying.
I think you're right. They
them 14 points to start the game and then lost by 10.
That's true.
I'm not trying to diminish the win at all. I'm just saying I personally believe I made the right decision. This is how I go to sleep tonight. On the golf pod, our guy Mitch, he says that he never blames himself for a bad shot. He makes excuses for himself. He says it helps him stay in. He's like, the ground was wet. I didn't know, so my foot slipped a little bit. Or the wind is why that thing blew offline. He's not being whiny. He's just keeping himself in it. He's like, you're good. You didn't mess up. Something else messed up. That's how I have to stay hot here, Dre. I was correct. Wyoming just screwed it up for me.
I have a similar mentality where I'm just about the process. I know that the final results can be fluky. I just need to keep drilling that process. And I know that with that drilling, good things will come. Yes. And if you're telling me your process was correct, the results were just fluky, I don't disagree.
All right. That's what I need.
You're on to something. Yeah.
I need that to get into this weekend. There's college football tonight. If we want to start there, is there anything that piques your interest?
Yeah, I talked about this on the draft pod. I got Justin's insights on this. Zach Wilson super dialed in. If you're a Broncos fan, you want to tune in. After the big 2, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, Wilson has really played his way into being, with Trey Lance, the North Dakota State quarterback, one of the premier quarterback prospects in the nation. BYU with Zach Wilson have been on a tear. He's a Heisman candidate at this point. But this is the big test for BYU going to Boise. And I think the Zach Wilson hype's gotten a little too far.
Let's go.
This has moved to what, -4 now?
4.5
This is Boise in Boise?
on
Blue
the blue
Field?
Smurf turf.
On ESPN tonight? National TV?
Yeah,
Zach Wilson,
sorry,
you better bring your A game, son.
Who were they playing, BYU, where they had that crazy comeback late? Was it San Jose State?
Oh, it was one very early, and we didn't think we had the cover, and then they did.
I doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled
Yeah.
down, and they came all the way back and won it. I want to say it was against
Houston.
San Jose State. Oh, okay, Houston.
Or Louisiana
And
Tech? No, it was Houston.
What's good? What happened there though is like I saw the chinks in the armor for BYU. Like they're not a great team. They have a really good college quarterback. If not a great college quarterback.
Absolutely.
And that can cover up a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go in to Boise on the blue turf and play imperfect football, you're going to lose. And I don't think they're a perfect football. I don't think they're capable of going out there and playing that well. Boise has a good defense. They're usually more talented than every team they play. And even when they aren't more talented than teams, they usually win anyway because they're really well coached.
Yes.
So I love this opportunity here to take Boise as a heavy home dog, not just a home dog, a heavy home dog. And interestingly enough, they are plus 148 on the money line at plus 4.5, Dre. The Broncos this weekend are plus 4, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the money line is plus 175, which I find to be
crazy.
Absolutely fascinating because that tells me that these bookmakers are not all that confident that Boise isn't going to hold down things on their home turf and win this game.
That is apt analysis right there, Ryan. Apt analysis. Also, it did not slip by me when our guy Spence on TDSP guessed that money line at a smooth plus 145. Exactly what Boise, a 4-point dog themselves, are getting. And you were like, oh no, it's higher than that. That piqued my interest, and I'm glad that you are reiterating that. Another thing that makes me love bluff, it's a fade the public pick. 85% of the bets are on BYU. Not much of a difference between the handle and the bet here. Even on the money line, 83% of the money is on BYU, 62% of the bets. But even that, I'm not deterred. And I just think you're getting extra value because BYU's ranked so highly because it's a weird season. So them and Cincinnati are like ranked higher than they ever would because they're 7-0, but they haven't really played anyone. And they're going against the Boise State team that's just played one game so far.
They played two. They played
two, right? They're just 2-0. So you look at it on paper, it's like 7-0 against 2-0. It's number 6 against number 21. Seems like, oh, BYU, and boy, just 4 points. They've got the better quarterback. Those are fool's details. That's all fugazi, you know. So yeah, but Boise State's a beautiful bet. This is the veteran man's bet right here.
I completely agree, and just to put it out there, like it's not like Boise's like underachieving or something this year.
No.
42-13 in their first game, hosting Utah State. And then they went to Air Force and won 49-30. So they
against
can score.
The Falcons?
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe how bad Air Force's quarterback is at throwing the ball. Oh, that too was playing San Jose State. God, that was unbelievable. I've never seen. I mean, between that guy and Todd Centeio, I have seen some poor college quarterbacking this year.
The college football is so good when it's good. And it is so bad when it's bad, right? So bad. There's such a wide variance in like the same conference, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, BYU, I want to look at BYU, who they've played so far.
Houston's the only decent program that's at the level of a Mountain West school, you know. They've kind of been feasting on lower competition, really.
And that's what I wanted to point out here. Why can't I? How many games have they played?
7-0, I believe.
How have they played 7 games?
Because as an independent, they're one of those teams that started
They
off right
schedule
when.
whoever.
Yeah, and I mean, because they're an independent and they don't have a conference, they had to kind of reschedule everything.
Okay, so let me just.
Yeah, go ahead.
Played Navy, they crushed them. They played Troy, they crushed them. They played Louisiana Tech, they crushed them. They played UTSA and only won by 7. They played Houston and were losing for a while and then came back to blow them out.
Yep.
And then they played Texas State and Western Kentucky. Nothing that they have gone up against is anything like going to the blue turf. And they've struggled a little bit with teams that aren't that special.
Yeah.
I can't believe they've played 7 games and the Buffs have played 0. After tonight, they'll have played more games than the Buffs are going to play all season.
Yeah. It's wild. It's a wild season of college football, Ryan.
It is very wild. There's a couple other games out there. Miami, Florida taking on NC State, and San Jose State, speak of the devil, and San Diego State.
Yeah. Boy, the Canes have been good, but they've kind of cooled off a little. NC State at 4-2 has been frisky until they had a tough loss against North Carolina. I want to see if NC State's quarterback is back, because that makes all the difference for them. They have been having some injuries at the QB position. Let me see if Leary's playing today, because that changes everything. Leary, there we go.
The problem with college football is you never know.
No, their quarterback's out, so that's where I would lean towards
Derek King
Miami.
Season?
Yeah, Derek King season there. Minus 10.5, right?
Minus 10. And then San Jose State is getting 10 at San Diego State. San Jose State really impressed me in that Air Force game. Their defense is kind of staunchy. Now, I have no idea how their pass defense is, because Air Force's quarterback does not know how to throw a forward pass. But their run defense was pretty special. I might be interested in the under in this game.
The Mountain West under. So wait, who do you like? San Jose State is the one that impressed you?
I like their defense. Yep.
I can tell you our Mountain West insider also thinks San Jose State's sneaky good and likes the quarterback.
Okay. Yeah, the quarterback was legit too. He's like a 5-time transfer who was at like 17 big programs and then finally ended up at San Jose State, and he can toss the rock a little bit.
I mean, that might be a frisky dog right there.
Yeah, that could be a spicy dog.
A spicy dog, yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Not frisky, but spicy.
Dude, it's just, I've been big on parlays recently.
I'm so concerned for you right
San
now.
Jose State and Boise State parlay plus 842.
Ooh, well, that's money lines.
Yeah, money line parlay.
That's nice. Justin had that same parlay, and he had the Rams in there, so he's sitting pretty.
Oh,
yeah.
He could be in a big cash out position if one of these two hits.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the rest of the weekend here. Before we do that, a shout out to DraftKings Sportsbook. Head over and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code DNVR when you sign up, and you can get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000 when you do so. Always tons and tons of great options. Of course, we got a 20% profit boost on a 4-leg college football parlay this weekend. 20% profit boost on any NFL parlay that you put together this weekend. All sorts of amazing offers and different promotions that you can get in on. So just go download the app. Right at the top of the app, it'll show you all the different fun things you can get in on. And there's always something fun. And, of course, Andre and I will always give you our favorite picks so you can get in on those. Let's now, of course, move into that. Of course, you must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough, and restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Dre, what college football games stick out to you on the whole here before we get into the NFL slate?
I think we've got the return of the Pac-12, which should be on your newfound love for the parlay. I'm also very concerned with your takes on the Buffs. You're on a winning streak. You've doubled your winnings. I couldn't be. The stars are aligning for a disaster to come soon for you, Ryan. As a friend, I'm really worried right now.
I couldn't be more confident.
Exactly. Well, I've got other friends telling me, "Oh man, I'm on a losing streak." I couldn't feel better for them. That's the weird world we live in with sports betting. I like the Sun Devils at USC this week. I think Arizona State has a lot of talent. I think they're well coached, and I like that quarterback. I like Slovis for USC as well. 10.5 far too much. The Trojans seem ripe for the taking there. So that's where I'm starting off on the Pac-12. And
USC is at home, just so you know.
Yes. Did I?
Okay. I think you said going to, but that's all good.
Yeah. And the other big game in the Pac-12, Oregon, Stanford, that line has moved. It was double digits. It's since moved to Oregon just -8. Both those teams I have zero feel for and really concern me. So I would kind of warn against that one, though the under for as much talent as has been lost by those two teams has me intrigued. And I don't know. You want to give us a little Buffs UCLA preview here?
Don't bet on the Buffs. Just don't. I have no idea what to expect. The reason why I wouldn't bet on the Buffs is because we don't know what the quarterback is going to look like. Yeah. Sam Neuer set to start. We know that he is athletic, and that's about all we know. We've barely seen him play. You hope for the best. Usually having a senior quarterback is a valuable thing, but they got to be a good senior quarterback. So I don't know. I'm the biggest Buffs homer ever, and I don't know what to expect. So I'm not going to, put my reputation on the line here when I don't know what's going on. I will probably end up somehow blacking out and betting the Buffs money line, but do as I say, not as I do.
Plus 165. Even the Buffs. Lesser odds on the money line than the Broncos. Are you sure you didn't get like an odds boost from DraftKings, Ryan?
Oh, I'm sure. But now I feel like I need to lock that in before they forget what they're doing.
UCLA CU, this total set at 57, much like Oregon Stanford, where I feel like I don't know enough about these teams. I like the under. That is incredibly high at 57.
I do like the other two. The Buffs kind of found something on defense last year, and I was actually talking about this with the CSU fans in our company last night. What the Buffs realized last season, and they did retain their defensive coordinator from last season.
Important to remember, yep.
Yes. What they realized last season is, like, if you don't have the talent in your secondary to cover Pac-12 receivers, which there's a ton of really great ones, you might as well just blitz all the time. It's like basically what they learned. They almost beat USC with this strategy last year. They did beat Stanford. They beat Washington with this strategy. It's just like, just put your ears back and go. And you're better off trying to force a bad throw from a quarterback under pressure than you are trying to stick with guys for 2-3 seconds back there.
And we should remember those upsets you just mentioned was without, or almost upsets in some cases, was without guys like Mustafa Johnson or some of the primetime recruits they've been able to add this year on that defensive front, which at least in snap occasions, like, blitz packages, could prove to be valuable. So I do like the under, and I like that for Oregon, Stanford
Buffs
at
are
Oregon.
really going to try to run the ball.
Makes sense. They've got a nice stable of backs. And UCLA, let's not overrate UCLA. They've been hot garbage for quite a while now. So if there were fans here, I would be much more bullish about the Buffs. But again, we know so little. It's hard to be bullish one way or another. I like Michigan -3.5. This is a weird one where they're on the road. They're the lower ranked team against an Indiana team that's highly ranked because they upset Penn State, but we know that was a fluke. 3.5, you're basically being gifted 3.5 points, I think, here. So I like that. And then the two big games of the weekend are Florida at Georgia. Georgia -3. I really believe in that defense. I think it's the best defense in the country, where good defense is kind of rare. Them and Cincinnati really stand out above the rest. So I like the Dogs to overcome Florida's firepower on offense, just because I think Kyle Trask, with their pass rush and without the support from the run game, will really be in trouble. And Notre Dame +5.5 at home, hosting Clemson without Trevor Lawrence. The Irish have me very intrigued. I think Clemson hasn't had the odds stacked against them like this for a minute in the regular season.
Yeah, I don't trust Notre Dame just as a program. Give me a week to watch the Pac-12, and I'll come back with some takes for you on the Pac-12.
Beautiful. Let's do it.
In my friend circle, I have been called the Pac-Fesser a couple times here and there. So I usually can dial in on the Pac-12 pretty quickly, but I just, I'm not the type of guy. I'm not like Hank out here who like reads the Athlon sports preview or whatever it's called.
Right.
I like to see it with my eyes,
And even if you have this year with all the opt-outs and injuries and COVID and canceled games, you got to see how it plays out. Go from there. I think that's a wise strategy for this opening week of the Pac-12. Though I'm excited nonetheless. And we've got some big games like Georgia, Florida, Clemson, Notre Dame. That's going to be some good ones.
Are you like me and like you just love watching Pac-12 football?
I really do. Yes.
I don't. Yeah. Everyone wants to hate on the Pac-12. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just I like the teams. I'm familiar with them. Something about watching the Pac-12. I watch anytime there's a Pac-12 game on. I want that game.
There all the Power 5 conferences, it gets hated on nationally because it rarely has one of those top contenders. But the reason that is why you and I love it so much. It's the Power 5 conference with the best parity of all.
Yeah,
it's not like the ACC or SEC where the same teams just win every single week, year in, year out, and the Big Ten's becoming that way. It's wide open in the Pac-12 every week. And that's what makes it really great.
I think you're right. Thank you for identifying that. Okay, let's move on to the NFL here.
Wait,
of course, the SEC is better to the commenter.
Before we move on, we've got one good question from our pal here who wants a 4-pick parlay suggestion with a 20% odds.
I don't do 4-leg parlays.
You don't. That's correct. That does give me hope. I'd take Arizona +10.5. Then, and you can add this up, Ryan. I'm not in a position to empty the bet slip right now. I've got too many notes in here.
Arizona +10.5.
Georgia -3.
Give me a second to find it.
Mm-hmm.
So many games. Georgia -3.
Notre Dame +5.5.
Ugh.
Or Boise +4. No, let's do Boise +4. You'll have to go back to the top. I'm sorry.
Boise +4.5.
And then dealer's choice between the under in Stanford at Oregon or UCLA at Colorado. That UCLA at Colorado under is talking to me. So that's the one I would go with.
Okay, let me find that one.
Yeah, that one's like
under 57, man, that's high.
So high, Ryan. It's so high.
Okay, so that's +1224 before the boost. So add another 20. So you have? Can you give me the 20% on that?
It's a nice juicy parlay right there.
It's like
guys.
plus 1,300.
Yeah, dude, that's beautiful. That's a nice little parlay, and I like that a lot.
It's a nice little parlay that will go 3-4 at best.
3 for 4 is
Anyway.
a winner if you bet on those individually or round robin.
Yes, it is. Okay, let's now get into the NFL slate,
Yes,
which I just happen to really like.
it's a good card.
It's a good card.
Good card.
I don't know. We talked a lot about Fade the Public week. While I'm interested in fading the public, I've come away from the idea that this is the week.
I'm leaning towards it maybe being a bit of an unders week. So
okay, talk to me about that.
Well, I was just doing the additions, and I know that when I give you these over-unders calculations, I'm always going off of what these teams average on offense, and you'll ask me, well, what are they averaging on defense? And for example, the Ravens at Colts game, where it's set at 47, these teams are only allowing a combined 38 points. And I just think Lamar's not going to light it up. It's not going to be like Lamar's going to have 250 plus passing yards. They're going to do a good job on run defense. And Phillip Rivers isn't going to light up that Ravens D either. So I think this is a comfortable under. I also think Carolina against Kansas City. We've talked about how the Chiefs have been under City. And yeah, that hasn't happened the last couple weeks in these fluky games against the Broncos and Jets, but I think against the good Carolina Panthers team, and we like the Panthers plus 10, this over under of 52.5 for two teams that are allowing a combined 43 points per game is far too high. So that's another under I like. And then you get to the primetime games. New Orleans against Tampa Bay. We talked about this when we were previewing the week and guessing the lines, Ryan. Noodle arm Tom Brady against noodle arm Drew Brees. Over under set at 51. Are you kidding me? Teams are allowing a combined 48 points. Even that's a little high, and I think part of that is the tough schedule both teams have faced. I really like the under there. This one's interesting. Set at 42, New England at the Jets. The defenses are a little leaky on these two teams, but they're combining for only 31 points scored per game. I kind of like the under there too.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots, if you'll let them, will just pound that rock all day long. I mean, it might look like an Air Force game over there. Just run. Especially if they can, gash them a little bit. So that's an interesting one. This was brought up in the comments here by Blake, who says, not sure if this has been discussed yet, but I feel like this Broncos-Falcons game has to hit the over. It's set at 50, Andre, and man, I love the thought of it going over. It totally makes sense. Secondary banged up for the Broncos, really bad secondary for the Falcons, this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, I kind of like where you're thinking. How many Broncos games have we seen where it just doesn't happen? Like, all those, it just, and I think it will, but I just, we talk about process. I just don't know if I can bet on that to happen when I've seen it not happen so many times.
And Falcons have improved on defense, not as sloppy since the coach firing and the interim being put in. I mean, these defenses are averaging a combined 54 points allowed per game, so that would suggest the over. I just think both defenses, for one, Denver's had some tough matchups, so I think that's a little fluky on their side, and I think the Falcons defense is playing better, and it's what you just said. We watch these Broncos games, they're always a bit of a slog offensively, and that gives me pause. But I, too, was thinking, man, maybe this is the game where the Broncos offense puts it all together against this Falcons defense. But yeah, probably more likely than not, this isn't the week.
So what I like about this slate is I don't think there's that many juicy games on it, but there's a few that I really, really like. One is Seahawks -3. I'm just all over that. I'm all over Seahawks -3. I know they're going to Buffalo. I don't care. I like a lot Titans -6.5. I just don't think the Bears are that good, and I'll take it if it's inside a touchdown.
Yeah, that's moved, man. It used to be 5.5, and it's moved to 6.5. Yeah, I really like the Titans. Sharp money seems to be on that. That's follow the sharps. Yeah.
And then I like Jaguars team total under 20.5.
Beautiful call.
Jake Luton. As you mentioned earlier in the week, Dre, we are Luton intolerant. Just not our kind of guy.
Indeed, we are Luton intolerant. I can't believe they set that at over 20.
Yeah, I can't either. So I saw
seems irresponsible.
I saw the game total was set at 50.5. So I was like, what is going on here? What did they set their number at? So
well, and I've hammered those kind of bets on the Giants, Jets, Washington football team and hit a bunch of them, and those are almost always in the 16 range. So if I'm getting Jake Luton, and I get it, it's the Texans defense, they're not great, but again, another team that's kind of picked it up since the interims come in, and the interims Romeo Cornell, more of a defensive minded guy. Okay, so I'm adding that to my card. That's a great bet.
And finally, I want to get to our locks of the week, Dre. Got a fancy little graphic for this that we'll bring up here in a second. Bang, bang. It's changed. Mine has changed, unfortunately. So I had Steelers -13.5 as my absolute lock of the week. It has since moved to 14.5. I don't care. It's less of a lock than it was when I said it. I'm going to be honest. But it's still a lock. Steelers are going to make life a living hell for Garrett Gilbert, and they're going to be able to carve this Cowboys defense up like a Thanksgiving turkey. So give me Steelers. I have a feeling the score is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 31-3 or something.
Sounds about right. That would mean 31-3. That would mean the under would hit easy breezy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's think of some of the other highest point totals we've seen this year, or spreads we've seen, like Chiefs and Bills as big favorites against the Jets. That was over 18. The Cowboys are probably as bad as the Jets are right now with their backup quarterback, and the Steelers are still undefeated and playing really good football. So I like your thinking on that, Ryan, even though I hate taking that many points. And my thinking's correlated to the under I just gave you. Ravens struggling on offense, getting a little too much respect. This Colts defense is for real, and they're for real in that I think they'll be able to play quite well in defending Lamar Jackson. And that's why I like the under team total for the Ravens set at 23.5 here.
I also just love Cowboys under 13.5.
That's really low. But I'm with you. That's just like strikingly low for an NFL team.
I mean, the Steelers are just abusing quarterbacks, though.
Yes. Yeah, and they've got so many injuries. What's the Steelers? Yeah, I was looking at the Steelers point total too at 28.5. Only thing that gives me pause is maybe the Cowboys have picked it up a little bit on defense. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. All right. Well, that is what I have, unless there's something else you want to throw out there.
Well, and we loved Saints, right? We loved Saints as +5 dogs. Yep. What's the money line on that right now? +188.
Yep.
That's really nice.
So last week I put my 20% profit boost on Broncos and Steelers. This week I might do it Broncos and Saints.
Money line straight up.
Yep.
And you still really like the Cardinals at -4.5 hosting the
Yep.
Miami Dolphins?
Yep.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know they look good against the Rams, and there were some fluky turnovers there on the Rams side as well. But Tua didn't like that.
Didn't
Cards
inspire
defense
you.
is kind of good.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't
like
be
that one as
surprised if Tua has his game, his coming out party.
Sure.
But this is also a really good Cards defense. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, there's the move for this weekend. It starts all tonight with our very confident pick in Boise State. So go Broncos, I guess.
Go Broncos, indeed.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us on this week of DNVR Bets Daily. We will talk to you next week.